Today we are in Hutchinson, Kansas, where we're about to be. I've got about 10 more miles left on the trip. We're going to Cosmosphere. That looks like the Gemini. And then over here to the right, you've got a Mercury. These just made orbital flights around the Earth. And here we are at the Cosmosphere. I should have started with that. And let's go see what's going on in there. Alright, this is the entrance of the Cosmosphere. Coming in, you've got Armstrong's suit. This isn't the real one. Have a look here. On July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first people to walk on the moon. This 50th anniversary statue is made from 3D scans of Armstrong's spacesuit in the collection of the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum. That's pretty interesting. And you've got this SR-71 right in the lobby. And as you, you can just about touch that. That's pretty neat. I think I can touch it. Well, almost. I can almost touch it. It's just out of reach. And then the Space Shuttle Endeavour right here. Pretty fascinating. And then a T-38 on its side, banking left. Oh, what's this over here?
Yeah, with color ties.
Oh, we're going down there. We're going to check that out. Lunar module. Okay. All right. That's some artifacts from the SR-71. Aluminum infused tires. I've got a suit for it here. Some X ones. Pause on that if you want to read more. Alright, this is the entrance. I forget what this is called. I think it's the X-15. I don't know. Or the X-1. I'm going to find out. Okay, the Bell X-1. The Bell X-1 was the first in a series of experimental planes and rockets that pushed the boundaries of aviation technology. Bullet-shaped, rocket-propelled, the X-1 tested the limits that aircraft and pilots could bear. Oh, here's a picture of Chuck Yeager, the actor and the real person. The Right Stuff. Here's the instrument panel. Okay. I wonder if they've got an X-15 here. Oh, here is a spacesuit. I don't know what those green things are. We're going to find out. Black Beast, the X-15. That's what the propulsion system looks like. XLR-99, the 1,000,000 horsepower engine. Interesting. That looks the same as this over here. Oh, here's the rocket sled. Check this out. Sonic Wind 2 rocket sled. actually right up next to it. You can reach out and touch it. Look at that. For your head, it goes back into that. I wonder if they strap it in. Maybe so it doesn't flop around. Test subjects. Oh wow, look at this. He's not even wearing a helmet. 1955 to 1959. All right. All right. What kind of rocket is this? This is a warhead unit, it says. This is the legacy of the V-2. Redstone was America's first nuclear-tipped medium-range ballistic MBRM, okay? Rocket was a direct outgrowth of the German V-2 missile. Okay, we're going to go look at one of those in a moment. This is a nuclear warhead. Oh, here's Werner von Braun and Sergei Korolev. Oh, wow. Watches, the engineer installs hardware inside the warhead section of a Redstone. Okay, so that's von Braun there, and here's the inside. You can see of this warhead, some of it. Uncle Sam and Soviet. Oh, look, there's the dog. Okay, here's the V2. V stands for vengeance. Oh, here it is right here. The V stood for vengeance. There it is right there. Real V2. The very first, these are the V1, the Vengeance 1 is the very first cruise missile. Look at this propeller right on the front. Judy of Versailles. Russian Verbutin. I don't know what that means. Probably has to do with rockets.
And they were working these guys 18 hours a day on just little food, and we died and went home and just bought more. It was really wartime. But after World War II, we realized that the guy who constructed this and his engineers were all geniuses in their way. So they made a deal: we will not try this war unless you come and take charge of our system. Because they thought the Russians would do it first, and they didn't want to do it with the Russians. So they don't have a chance to go with the Americans instead. So that's how they came over here and got our space program off the ground.
Is this actually one?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, that's Redstone Arsenal in Alabama. We got that in the 1980s. It was in storage at Redstone. They brought over a few of them after World War II. Yeah, they were
The V1 is bigger than I pictured or imagined on the TV. It really shows the V2. You don't imagine that it's as large as it is.
No, there's no explosive in
Alright, here's Sputnik 1 replica. And there's model here, you can see how big it actually was. Successful satellite. The Explorer 1.
This very risk enhances our stature when we are successful. But this is not merely a race. Space is open to us now.
Look at
And our
LBJ in the
eagerness
back.
to share its meaning is not governed by the efforts of others. We go into space because whatever mankind must undertake, free men must fully share.
There's the bust of the monkey. What was the name of the monkey?
I therefore ask the Congress
Bonnie the Monkey.
increases I earlier requested. I believe
And on second thing about it,
achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon.
Here's something to know about the MA-1 spacecraft. Actually disintegrated, blew up. Fortunately, it was unmanned. That's why I didn't really know about it. But look at this. They actually have the artifact here. They're able to recover it. It's a Mercury spacecraft. Here's the blast windows. You can see how thick it was. Look how thick that glass is. So these were at the blockhouse, which was just 300 feet away from the launch pad. And they were able to still see and be protected. Look how happy that communist is. It's communist propaganda right here. Communist makes you happy. Here's some Khrushchev on the rise. Look at that.
Between the free world and the communist world. Let them come to Berlin.
German right here. Actual segments.
There are some who say, and communism
So this is communist
is the future.
rocket engine RD-107. Oh wow! So imagine that 5 times on the bottom of the Soyuz rocket. This is just 1/5 of the power that the Soyuz has. So here's an Atlas rocket, SM-65, America's first intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM. Okay, that's what we saw from the outside. Let's just have a look. Pretty neat. I'll get right up next to it. Uh-oh, we got an alert. Uh-oh, DEFCON 1. Oh boy. We better get out of here. This thing's gonna launch. This is a legit Soviet space capsule. It's like a legitimate, you might even call it a space ball. But here's a cosmonaut spacesuit, gloves, watch. What kind of watch they got? I can't even say it. Look at how they put the cosmonaut into the space capsule. They just slid him in. They're like, okay, buddy, you're here for a while. Camped out. That's some crazy stuff, man. I don't think I'd be okay with that. You know, you don't really, of course it's communism, so you don't have a lot of freedom anyway, but this is like the epitome. You can see some controls. Look at that. He does have a little bit of control, huh? All right. Okay, now, this one on top of the rockets, in case they had to abort the launch. Here's the Liberty Bell 7. This is Gus Grissom's space capsule. I don't know if you remember from the movie, but this was, they were unable to retrieve it after Gus Grissom, something happened and the hatch blew, and Gus has always said that it just happened, right? And once they retrieved it, and this happened more recently, they were able to get it back. We'll find out what year in just a second, but here you can see clearly inside. Anyway, he was vindicated. They could tell somehow that after they retrieved it, that it did in fact just happen. Oh, there's the bottom. United States, the second mission, the second manned mission. This is it right here. And we just looked at this a minute ago, the early space flight. Well, you can see how it's changed. They gave him more freedom, and you can see his little head poking out here. This was like a spacewalk, I assume. But they gave him more freedom to move about the space, the cabin inside. Here is a Gemini 10, okay? Let's see who was in this flight. Astronauts John Young and Michael Collins orbited Earth performing EVAs, okay? And Michael Collins was on Apollo 11, and he orbited the moon while they were aboard the first Apollo mission to the moon. So this is Gemini. See the hatch there. Look at that. That's no joke. That is no joke. Re-entry. Wow. Straight from Houston, right? Capcom, they call it, right? There's a scale model of the Saturn V. Look at that. It's a beautiful model of it. And over here we've got a lunar what do they call it, the LEM. Oh, they've also got a lunar rover. That's pretty great. It's bigger than you think. LEM, lunar module. There's the ladder. to the hatch. Wow. Here's an actual rock from Apollo 11. See that? Lunar rock right here. Look at that in there. Here's the side of that limb. Big old thing. One of the things Cosmosphere has is the Apollo 13 module. Remember the Houston We Have a Problem movie, Apollo 13? Well, this is it. Once they got it back to Earth, look, we can look right inside. Pretty incredible. Incredible they got this thing back to Earth safely. You can see the underside of it here. And it's a pretty big, of course it held 3 astronauts, so it's pretty large. Oh, here we go. So the mission was Apollo 13. Launch occurred at 13:13 hours Houston time. Service module exploded on April 13th. Splashdown occurred at 13:07. 13 nations immediately offered to provide NASA with rescue. The astronauts' first names, James, Fred, and Jack, all add up to 13 letters, etc., etc. Anyway, there they are. The Odyssey's extraordinary Odyssey. Failure is not an option. You can pause on that if you want to read it. Here's the second column. And here's a little bit about the astronauts. James Lovell, Fred Hayes, and Jack Swigert. Kevin Bacon. I was just talking about the Apollo mission. This is what it looked like from the perspective of the people that put them in there. They came in here. You can see that the Apollo space capsule would be right in this section here. We're going to go inside right now and we'll look at what they call the White Room. This is literally one of, this was there in Florida, and this is what it looked like. The closest thing that we have nowadays is a jet walk, which is the pathway to the concourse to the jet that we travel in. Here we go. So you can see them taking care of the astronauts, tending to them before they left. You can see how high up they were. This is one of those, literally one of them. This could have been the one that was for Apollo 11. You can see some switches that they had. A fire hose in case there was a fire. What's that, a barometer? I don't know. Pad leader for this particular pad was named somebody Wint. That's really neat. The pad leader is written in, and you can see here. So this is the White Room. Pretty fascinating for the men who tended to the astronauts before they So here's what the side of the spacecraft looked like after the explosion that rocked the capsule. You're like, what does it look like? He says the whole side of the spacecraft is missing. They were losing oxygen and everything else. Fortunately, the service module was able to get them back to Earth in the LEM. Well, this is interesting. This is the various cameras that they used while they were in space. Look at all the different cameras we have here. The different lenses. So many of the wonderful photos that they got. Okay. Oh, they signed them too. It's nice of them to sign it. And then we get to enjoy them here. Here's an Apollo 11 XI. There it is. Okay, so this was flown in Apollo 10. Here's one flown in Apollo 9. This one's absent. And Apollo 7. Here's some various and sundry space artifacts. Scott's gloves. Hayes. Fred Hayes. Okay. EVA umbilical cord used by Ken Mattingly during his trans-Earth EVA on Apollo 16. Wow. That's what kept him alive. Wow, look at this. Display and keyboard on assembly flown on Apollo 12. Oh, wow. Okay, so here's C. Conrad, one of his uniforms. Wow. You know, circling back to, this is the X-1, predecessor to the X-15, but this is the space outfit that they wore. This one belonged to Adams. You can see right there. This is legit. But we were wondering, what is this? These are oxygen canisters that they wore inside the suit. They kept it pressurized, kept them alive. You can see here, you can pause on this if you want to, but it talks about an aircraft loses pressure. The tubes within the spacesuit fill with oxygen and inflate automatically, producing artificial atmospheric pressure. So it kept them alive. Here's the lobby again, just another vantage point of it. Here's that T-38 banking left. And look at the size of this SR-71 right in the lobby. They built the building around it. But this is the observation deck from up here. Here's the Endeavour. We're actually on the Endeavour wing. Here is a space shuttle tire, which is good. You never know when you'll need a spare. This one's been slightly used. See some radial in there. Time to change them out. Look how thick it is. That's pretty darn thick. Okay, that's the Spirit. That's pretty neat. That's interesting. All right, so what is it? This is a Spitz A1 Stargazer project that Patty Carey purchased in 1962 to use in the original Theater of the Skies. Okay. Here's a nice mural. All right, here's the Ranger 19 photographing the moon. No, this is not the Ranger. This is the Surveyor, 61 to 68. It landed on the moon. Look at that. So this was like a separate project that they had going on. If the project was between 61 and 68, there was 7 of them. 7 missions. Had to have been separate, and they just compiled the data to get the manned missions going. It's even got solar. Wow. This is all the way back in the 60s.